Thank you so much for staying with us. We told you we would have two discussions, one on security, the other on economy and security. Since security is the primary responsibility of government, we'll start with it. Across the country, stories of kidnappings from Ekiti to Federal Capital Territory, where we saw an avalanche since this year, and just over last weekend in Kogi State, as travelers were whisked off into the bushes. It has elicited lots of reaction, with many Nigerians coming up with alternative solutions to changing our security architecture. And welcome Senator Ned Nwoko, who's a member of the 10th Senate, for his perspectives. Thank you so much for joining us, Senator Nwoko. We can't really hear you. Maybe you have to unmute yourself. Let's quickly link up with you audio-wise. Senator Ned Nwoko recently indeed raised a bill in the Senate calling for the right of citizens to bear arms to be enshrined in our laws. Quite an interesting scenario. In the US, you have the Second Amendment that empowers citizens to bear arms. And he wants to replicate that here. Let's get back to him. Thank you so much for joining us, Senator Nwoko.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Good to have you. Though you're a bit faint, but we can get you now. Now, let's get your perspective on the growing incidents of kidnappings across the country. This is adding to the already big, huge challenge of insecurity in various forms across the country, banditry, terrorism, what have you. Now, do you think our normal response to all these security challenges is what will bring solution? We always see the president meet with heads of security agencies. We see heads of security agencies visit trouble spots and all that. Beyond that, do you think there are other measures we need to bring in to deal with the situation?
For me, yes. The most fundamental measure that we should begin to address now is the economy. You know, we must empower Nigerians. We must give Nigerians the opportunity to make a good living. Yes, I am not justifying the desperation on the part of the kidnappers and armed robbers and the rest of them. The fact is that what the government must address first is the economy. The economy of Nigeria is in shambles. The lending power or the borrowing power of the people is not there. The average Nigerian is really in their straits. So we must, as a government, first of all, begin to address the economy. How do you make sure that people are able to fend for themselves? Because I believe that if people are really able to fend for themselves, most of them will not be taken to arms or taken to robbery or kidnapping. So the first thing really for me in this regard is to create a credit economy. Make sure that people are able to borrow from the banks. Make sure that businesses are able to borrow and do what they want to do. Then, of course, I mean, apart from being able to borrow, we must also ensure that interest rates are at the barest minimum, no more than 3-4% borrowing interest rate. We must understand that what is happening between Nigerians and banks is a misnomer. In every other country abroad, people are able to borrow at a very, very reduced interest rate. In Nigeria, banks make huge profits. They make huge profits, and because of that, people are not able to borrow. Banks are lending at between 20 and 30% interest rates. How can a business thrive on that? It's almost impossible. So we must look at the economy. We must address the economy. But going back to the issues, the immediate issues, which is the kidnappings and the robberies, I'm glad you mentioned the American scenario. In America, the citizens have the right to bear arms to defend themselves. But that's not what I am advocating here. There's a very big difference between what we have in America and what I am advocating here. In America, you don't need to have any medical confirmation of your fitness. You don't need to have any recommendation from anybody. You don't need to, you're not required to go to any shooting schools to learn how to shoot because you are presumed to have that ability. You're not required to get the police certification of your credibility. But in Nigeria, what I am proposing is a bit different, quite different, in the sense that we are no longer in doubt as to what is happening. Everybody is aware of what is happening. Whether you are a journalist or you are a senator or a driver, everybody is aware of what is happening. And what is happening is basically that people are being kidnapped randomly. People are being robbed, without limitations, without limits. So what do we do? How do we go about it? The police are overstretched. The military are overstretched. We don't have enough policemen in Nigeria. Even if you recruit 100,000 Nigerian men and women into the police force, that would not still be enough. But by the way, I remember when the president was campaigning, he spoke about how, recruiting many policemen. I wonder why we're not doing that now. So we need to increase the sizes of our policemen in numbers. Similarly with the armed forces, we need to recruit a lot more. But beyond that, and whilst all that is taking place, there is nothing wrong with able-bodied Nigerian men and women who are capable, who are reasonable to be licensed to bear arms, to defend themselves.
Now, tell us, Senator Nwoko, what category of Nigerians should qualify for such? What sort of safeguards are we supposed to put in here? Safeguards as in, so that in the guise of solving one problem, we don't create another by just making it free for all. Of course, I know he's not making it free for all, but that's safeguards. What are you proposing for safeguards?
The interviewer, journalists, those businessmen, travelers on our roads, farmers, kings, you name them, people who are sensible, who are credible, who are logical, who ordinarily wouldn't just commit crimes. And that's why I say that the first step that must be taken, because of the uniqueness of our society, is to have in every local government in Nigeria a shooting school, at least one shooting school to start with, and these schools to be owned and run by former military guys who are familiar with weapons, who understands what weapons are, how to use them. So any of those guys who want to have a gun should go there to be trained on how to use guns. And at least the training should go on for about a month or two. And once you are done with that and you're certified to have passed the test, then your king or your emir or your oba should be able to give you the next certification that you are known to them and that you are credible. And we should be able to at least involve our kings at this level. These are the best way to involve them because they know, I mean, they say that every crime is local. The average king knows a lot about their communities. They know what is happening. And beyond that, they know everybody. If they don't know everybody, they should ask questions. There's nobody who is going to be in their 30s, for example, from a particular community who is not known to the Oba or known to the Emir or whatever, you know. So this is actually the best opportunity to involve the kings in fight against uh, 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 bad guys, you know, as it were. So the kings should be able to also certify that the person is known to them, and then you move to the next level of certification, which is to the medical fitness. You should be able to get 2 doctors who are known to you to be able to certify that you are fit and proper to be able to be licensed to carry guns. And then when you are done with that, you move to your local government chairman, the political chairman who should be able to understand what is happening and the fact that not everybody should be licensed to bear arms, but there are certain category of people. These people, as I said before, should be reasonably known, should be reasonably stable and known within the system. Then from there, you go to the local DPO, who should be able to confirm that you are not a wanted person, that you are somebody who is perhaps of good character, yes, of good character. And once you get all this in place, you now go back to the same shooting school and tell them, hold on, look, I've gotten all the certifications required of me. Can I have the gun now? But they will tell you, no, you have to wait for at least 2 months, a 2-month period, for them to be able to go back to this, to the OB, to the kings, and then go to the police and the rest of them to confirm that, yes, they issue the relevant documents to you. And with this, you can now choose the kind of gun that you want. As
Now,
they do in America.
that brings me to the next question. What type of gun? Because I know, as it were, that citizens are given license to indeed own some levels of gun, pump action and all that, not assault rifle. Are you proposing that citizens, after undergoing these processes you have enumerated, be given the right to bear assault rifles such as AK-47?
Or some other of funds that are available. Currently, as you said, yes, people have the ability to have licenses to have double barrels, single barrels, and sometimes in exceptional cases, the president can approve the use of license for pistols. But look, we need to reorganize the whole architecture of this and make sure that people are given the opportunity to have the gun that they need to defend themselves. But let me just say this. You see the herdsmen carrying AK-47s, isn't it? Are they licensed? No, they're not licensed. But do you know why it is important to bring them within the framework of being licensed? Do you know why it's important that they even began to start carrying arms? Do you know that the herdsmen were never carrying arms in the first place before? Do you know it was because of the need for them to defend themselves against cattle rustlers, cattle thieves who were attacking them, killing them, and taking the cattle. That's why they began to carry AK-47s. And you know that since then, the number of incidents of cattle rustling has dropped. Because if you're going to go and steal their cows, you better watch it because they are armed to defend themselves and defend their cattle. Now you're telling me that if those guys have the ability to carry AK-47s to defend themselves and their cattle, people are not able to do the same thing? No. Have you ever seen any of them being arrested because they're carrying AK-47? No. I'm glad you used the example of AK-47. I think people should be able to defend themselves the same way that those herdsmen are able to defend themselves and defend their cattle.
This your proposal apparently may not go down well with the security agencies who have heard such in the past, and the security agencies who say this is an invitation to anomia, confusion everywhere. They have resisted this. And so what level of resistance do you expect from them as you pursue this bill?
I have met and spoken with so many defense now. I am in the police committee of the Senate. I'm also in the Senate Committee on Defense. And I've spoken with so many people who both retired and serving, and they are not opposed to this at all. But they want to put things in place. They want to make sure that this is well managed. They're overstretched. They are the ones who are actually also being killed. A lot of policemen are being killed, slaughtered like animals out there. A lot of soldiers are also being killed. All I'm asking is give ordinary citizens the ability to support in the defense of lives and properties. We should get to that point in our society. I was talking to one of the serving commissioner about 2 weeks ago, and he was telling me a story in Southeast where a particular family who were doing a burial were attacked, and there were 3 of them were taken away. They were just there at the burial ground when they were attacked. And I said to him, you see what I mean? If those men who were doing the burials were armed, or they had people armed around them, you think that those guys who attacked them would have attacked? He said no. So you must empower people to defend themselves. The fact is that the summary is that the police and the military are not able to defend the average Nigerians. They can defend the bourgeois, they can defend the upper class or the rich guys, but we don't have enough policemen and enough military to go around. It is simply...
Lastly now, you need to rally the support of your colleagues in the Senate for this bill to sail through. I know you must have been lobbying. What kind of support are you getting from them?
It's not... All I just want is some safeguards to put in there. But just imagine if we don't... the average, all the senators have policemen attached to them. All the senators have policemen attached to them. Can you just imagine what's going to happen if suddenly we say, okay, let's give up all our police protection available to us? And then you ask them that question. Do you think they would want to carry arms to defend themselves? Of course they will. So look, there are many things that we just need to put in place. One of them is the economy, as I told you. The second one is to make sure that we are able to respond to emergency calls. So the telephone system, we must have a special number, not 080 number, but like 999 number that can be called, that is linked to the police, linked to the fire service, linked to ambulance service. We must be able to, reorganize the society. Currently, we're not organized. We're not organized. You are interviewing me if you are in difficulties. And I'm sure the only way you can probably seek for help is to call a friend of yours who is in the army or in the police force, not a particular number that is known publicly that protects everybody else.
We'll have to thank you, Senator Ned Nwoko, for giving us your time. I will be keeping track of this bill in the Senate to see how far it can get. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.